Hi, my name is Andrea and welcome to my Picha Kucha presentation. In this approximately 6.5-minute slideshow, I will share with you my reflections on what I learned about learning and technology. Bowen's book, published in 2012 by Jossie Bass, is the textbook that provides the foundation for the PIDP 3240 course. The title is provocative and had me wondering. Teaching naked obviously didn't mean to really teach naked. Heavens knows, as an aging Gen X teacher, it wouldn't improve enrollment to have me teaching in the buff. So what was Bowen getting at? Did he mean teaching the classroom the old-fashioned way? How I was taught, and maybe you were too. I think we can all picture it. The sage on the stage, students dutifully writing on their slates, with questions permitted only when the teacher said they could ask her. I think students mostly learned because they were scared not to. In his opening line, however, Bowen states, and I quote, "The new classroom is a flat screen. Students are constantly connected to technology. They have access to learning around the clock." Bowen states, and I quote, "E-learning is the experience and expectation of our entering students," end quote. Why? Because the generation of students entering into post-secondary education have literally grown up interfacing with this technology every day of their lives. It is how they learn and communicate with each other and the world. Mark Prensky, 2001, identifies these students that have grown up in this digital age as digital natives, and then describes them as, and I quote, "native speakers of the digital language of computers, video games, and the internet," end quote. This contrasts with those of us who have adopted and adapted to the digital age. We are the digital immigrants. Some of us have been exposed to the technology at younger ages than others, but all of us have a commonality in that we did not grow up with these technologies. Mark Prensky, 2001, states, "The single biggest problem facing education today is that our digital immigrant instructors who speak an outdated language, that of the pre-digital age, are struggling to teach a population that speaks an entirely new language," end quote. We must educate ourselves, learn how to smooth out the digital accent and use technology to its fullest advantage so that we can meet our students on equal ground and deliver education in such a way that it will create a positive experience and enhance learning. PowerPoint is a very popular technology. Whether or not it is a very effective way for students to learn depends on how it is used. Ineffective use of PowerPoint, according to the article "Making Better PowerPoint Presentations," includes having the instructor read off the PowerPoint presentation at the same time that the student is reading, including irrelevant clip art, and showing a complete lack of control with the animation features. Technology that is worth considering is the podcast. I'm amazed at the quality of recording I can make just using the GarageBand app on my Mac laptop. Providing students with a 5-minute podcast is a way they can engage with course content outside of the classroom, and in a very different way than the traditional delivery format of a text-based material. There are a ton of Web 2.0 tools that teachers can use. Learn about them, find out their advantages and disadvantages, and use them. As Bowen states, and I quote, "The new classroom is a flat screen," end quote. Our students, those digital natives we talked about, and even us digital immigrants, already consume mountains of information that is accessible through the internet. We use this information to develop curriculum, write papers, create presentations, and make decisions both professionally and personally. But does this mean that we are digitally literate? Being digitally literate means knowing how to access information and being able to decide if that information is accurate, reliable, and unbiased. It means managing the accessed information so it can be integrated into a framework for making decisions, finding solutions, creating, innovating, and communicating that back out into the internet. As teachers, we need to help students become critical thinkers, problem solvers, and innovators. Being digitally literate is a foundation of skill. But what else is there? This is where we get naked. Bowen states, and I quote, "Traditional lecture courses can be improved by the judicious use of technology, but the primary benefit of technology-mediated content delivery, communication, and assessment outside of the class is the additional time it creates for more active and engaged learning with prepared students inside the classroom," end quote. Having students be prepared before class means that when they do come to class, they can engage in active learning pedagogies like simulations. Bowen states, and I quote, "Students learn by doing," end quote. And as he says, when students are actively learning, they are doing more than just listening, taking notes, or being bored. They are engaged with collaborative learning and problem solving with their peers, as instructors are no longer monopolizing the classroom time, but are facilitating learning by providing the content and activities so students can get messy with learning together. I love this picture. What do you see at center stage? Is it the teacher? The technology? No, it's the learning, because that's what it's all about. What it means to teach has changed so much in 40 years. We no longer live in a homogeneous, insular environment. It's a global, digital world where amazing tools that can provide meaningful learning and enhance student engagement lie at our fingertips. To teach in the 21st century means finding out what technology is out there, learning it, and using it to its fullest advantage. It means creating a learning environment so that the precious time we have with students is spent letting them be fully engaged with active learning. In his closing paragraph, Bowen states, and I quote, "Our students and the world have changed. Success in the future will depend on our ability to adapt and find new ways to connect with our students," end quote. Here's a list of the references. All images are free for use with attribution given on each slide. Thank you for listening.